Essay number two is going to be an expository essay. So your first essay this quarter was a narrative. Now you're moving on to explaining a concept without narration and without argumentation or um, any other element other than just simply explaining something. So the purpose of this essay is to just help you really improve your description and explanation strategies. It's also, again, an opportunity for you to apply what you read about in chapters 4 and 15, which are all about explaining a concept and um, describing and explaining appropriately. So, this might feel a little different because I don't want you to argue. You have to be completely objective. You are simply informing your reader about something. You're not trying to convince them. You're not trying to persuade them. You are not analyzing anything. You are simply informing, simply teaching, simply explaining. That is all that you are doing. And that it might be a little harder than you think it would be because you have to keep yourself out of it. You don't want to narrate. You don't want to talk directly to your reader, but at the same time, it's not how to. You're not going to explain how to build something or how to make or create something. You are simply explaining a concept neutrally and without opinion, evaluation, or argumentation. Might be a little trickier than you think. So, good luck. If you have any questions, never hesitate to ask. So as always, make sure your paper has proper MLA format. If you have questions, make sure you use your feedback that I give you on your first essay to improve your format on your second essay. Review the MLA video I posted. Use whatever resources you need to get your formatting correct. Also, you need to be very clear that for this paper, I do not want any outside sources of this essay. You have to draw only from your experience and knowledge. So if you have to go to Wikipedia to look something up, be very careful about that. If you need some background information to refresh your memory, that's one thing. But if you include that information in your paper, that is not what I want. It all has to come from your mind. And if you're wondering why, it's because this course is not going to focus on research. Research requires, proper research skills, how to integrate, summarize, and paraphrase sources, how to put them in your paper appropriately, and then how to cite them in a works cited page as well as in text citation. I don't want to deal with all that. I want to help you become better and stronger writers, and I don't think that throwing in a bunch of research is going to help with that. So we will save that for later courses. For right now, I simply want you to focus on writing, not integrating sources. So please, please, please don't do that. All right, the assignment itself is to write a 2-page essay that clearly and effectively explains the concept of your choice. Make sure that it's a very focused concept because it has to be broad enough for you to cover in 2 pages, which really is quite short. It may not feel like it when you're writing, but there's not a whole lot of information you can provide in simply 2 pages. But you don't want it to go, 10 pages long either. So it's got to be enough for you to cover in 2 pages, hopefully no more than 3. So it's got to be a pretty specific aspect of perhaps a bigger concept. You've got to keep your topic narrowed and focused, and writing your thesis statement will help you with that, but we'll get to that. All right, let's see here. Make sure it's something that's interesting. Try not to be boring, something that interests you and that you think will interest your reader. Perhaps something unique that you know about would be awesome. But again, you have to know a lot about it. You are not going to be able to integrate sources. So do not do it. You have to strictly use your brain. And that's a good thing. So I kind of gave you some ideas on topics because it's pretty broad. Well, what on earth am I supposed to explain that's doable in 2 pages? Well, I don't know. But here are some things that you could think about. Are you in a career field, or are you going to be in a career field that you know a specific topic or again, a specific topic you know a lot about? What about a hobby? I think a hobby would be an excellent place to find a topic, and that's where you can get really creative and different. You have a hobby that's very unique for you. Again, it's not a how-to. It's not how to do something. but perhaps you have a hobby of, I don't know, surfing, and you want to provide some information about surfing. That's awesome. And to get more specific in that, perhaps you know a lot about surfboards. That's how you can take a broader concept and talk only about one specific element of that concept. Okay, so surfing would be the bigger concept, and discussing surfboards only and the science and magic behind them would be a more focused topic. So think about that. But I think a hobby would be a really, really good place to find an interesting topic for yourself. Think about your favorite academic subject. If you like history, what specific aspect of history could you babble on about for 2 pages in a most academic and wonderful way? Um, Say you like math. Is there something about math that you could explain? Again, it's not a how-to, but you can explain a specific concept within a subject that you enjoy. What about a sport? Is there don't give me the history of football. That's way too big. But perhaps there's one specific element of football um, that you could discuss. Just make sure it doesn't turn into an argument or a persuasive essay in any way. What about a political issue or a debate that you know a lot about? This one's kind of tricky because you don't want it to be opinionated and you don't want it to be argumentative. So, with all of these ideas, that holds true. So, that's just a list of ideas to maybe get you started. Also, use the example essays in chapter 4, especially when you work on your discussion board. How can they help you find a topic to write about? Use the chapter. That's how they're built. They're built to help you write essays. They're not just built to shove information in your face. They're there to help you and guide you. So use the textbook to get started on this essay. Again, remember this is not an argument, and remember that you do not want outside help in your essay. Your audience is someone who is uneducated about the concept you're describing, so make sure you're very clear and specific and use good explanatory and descriptive strategies so that you can be very clear and non-confusing as you describe your concept. For your assessment, of course, just like last time, you're going to turn in an outline first, and then I will provide feedback on that. And then this essay you will turn in at the end of the second week, and it will be worth 50 points. And you've got a grading rubric, ta-da, just like last time. So let's go through this really quick. Make sure you add it to the beginning of your paper, the first page. Make sure your heading goes with your paper, not with your rubric. So the important things I want to point out here are to make sure that it's 2 pages long or it won't pass. Also, if I see any outside sources within your paper, it won't pass either. And you might be wondering, oh, well, how on earth is she going to know if I don't cite them? Well, your papers actually go through a plagiarism program. So in this case, it's not that I'm looking for plagiarism necessarily. I'm looking to make sure that no outside sources are used. So, for example, if you go to Wikipedia and you cite a specific, like I think it can be upwards of 4 or 5 words, if you use that from Wikipedia and it's not general knowledge, then it's going to get you in trouble with this element of the paper. If you find something from Wikipedia, that's great. You cannot use it in your paper unless it's common knowledge. That's the one caveat. If you're talking about lawn care and you're getting really specific, those elements are not common knowledge. So if you get confused on that, ask me a question, let me know. I can tell you if it's common knowledge or not, but remember that your audience is uneducated. So your common knowledge is going to be really, really broad. So be very, very careful. If I see outside sources that you're using for very specific information, like dates and times and really specific info, that might be a problem because that's not common knowledge. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know because that can get really confusing and scary, and I don't want you to go, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail this thing. But really, go from your personal knowledge and experience. Okay? Like I could write a paper about the Middle Ages and history and culture and literature, but I wouldn't have to use any outside sources to do that. So be very, very careful in what you're writing about. Pick a topic that you know a lot about. I know a lot about the Middle Ages because I studied it for years in graduate school. So it's got to be something that you really, really know very, very well. Don't don't even come close to using an outside source, or I can't let you pass your paper. Be very, very specific about, or I'm trying to be really specific about that. So if you have questions, let me know. Make sure your formatting is okay. Um, Make sure that you stay neutral on the topic and you don't get subjective or argumentative. Make sure you begin your essay effectively. Be engaging, create a hook that really grabs your reader's attention and keeps it. Be creative. Think of how you can use your topic creatively to start creatively. Also, within your introduction, make sure you have a thesis statement that very clearly outlines what you're discussing in your essay. Stay focused on that thesis as you move through your paper. Don't deviate from what you've established in your introduction. Use transitions, all of that. Make sure you have a topic sentence for each body paragraph and that each paragraph stays focused and true to that topic sentence. And again, make sure every topic sentence relates back to your thesis statement. That's very, very important. That's how you can see if your paper is focused or not. Look for the first line of your body paragraph. Make sure everything in your body paragraph relates to that topic sentence, which should be the first line. And then again, make sure every topic sentence supports your thesis statement in some way. Make sure your organization is logical and that you move well from point A to point B. Use the strategies that are outlined in the chapters. Write a good conclusion and make sure you meet those standards of academic writing. So a lot of this is the same as your narrative essay. So make sure that you keep working and improving on those things. Let me know if you have any questions about this essay, because remember, again, you're simply explaining, no outside sources, stay focused. So let me know if you need anything.